All right, so I'm going to go ahead and teach about 1.5. 1.5 is a lesson about how to divide integers. So how do we divide when we have signed numbers? I know you guys know how to divide when it's just positive numbers, but so we're going to talk about that. And what we're going to find is that the rules that we discovered and learned for multiplication are going to apply in division. So there's some similarities and differences to what we learned in 1.4. So when we're going ahead and dividing integers, some are going to have same sign, some are going to have different sign. So the rule is that when they have the same sign, so they're with the same sign, the result is going to be positive. When we're dividing integers with different signs, the result is going to be negative. So we've got dividing with same, positive, dividing with different, negative. Okay, so there's a similarity. So when we multiplied integers, it was the same rule. So that's how it's the same. The way it's different is a little bit on the more obvious side. And the way that it's more different is that we're dividing. So we get to that point where we determine what the signs are going to be, and we're going to be dividing. Okay, so with same sign is positive, different sign, our result will be negative. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and check this out. So based on that, what we need to keep in mind then is that every problem is going to have two steps. The first thing we ask ourselves is, what are we going to do with the sign? So I'm going to put a question mark there. What happens to the sign? Well, these are same sign. So the result will be positive. And that's the first thing that we do. And then the second step is just what do the math is, what are we doing? We're dividing integers. We've determined that the sign is going to be positive. So we're just simply going to do 18 divided by 6 is 3. So our result will be positive 3. Now we know invisible math says, well, yeah, there's some things about math that don't necessarily have to be written down. For example, positive 3 is just simply 3. So you could just write it as 3. And so the two steps, what are we doing with the sign? Then do the math. So if we look at this next problem and we look at A, so we're looking at the signs here, what are we going to do with the sign? The sign here, the 75 is positive, the 25 is negative. So our signs are different. So it's going to be negative. And then we do the math, 75 divided by 25. Oh, that's going to be 3. And if you don't know your 25s very well, you need to work on those because you need 25, 50, 75. Okay, that's 3. Okay, so negative 3 is going to be my result. So I determined the sign, it's going to be negative. I did the math, it's going to be 3. Same thing here. So I look at the sign. What is the sign going to be? Well, I've got a negative and then no sign, so it's a positive, so it's different. So my sign is going to be negative. And then I just do the math. And here's where your math facts come into play. So it's pretty quick. If you know your math facts, it's going to be negative 9. And so your answer is going to be negative 9. And so you're simply determine what the sign is, then do the math. Determine what the sign is. So you're going to have some problems that are a little bit different. You're going to have some evaluate problems. They all have, in the end, you're going to be dividing integers. So, but there's going to be some evaluate problems. So let me give you a couple of examples of that. A divided by this particular one, A divided by B. Well, what does that mean? Well, they tell you A is negative 18. So A, negative 18 divided by B, negative 6. So then we have our two steps again. What's happening with the sign? It's same. So it's going to be positive. What's 18 divided by 6? 3. Oops, I said positive. I wrote out positive instead of actually just giving me my symbol. So positive, and then 18 divided by 6 is 3. Okay. Just to give another example of one that you might see, A plus 6 divided by 3. Well, A was negative 18, So negative 18 plus 6 divided by 3. Okay, so now we got to do some math, some addition there. Negative 18 plus 6 are different signs, so it's going to end up with negative 12 divided by 3. So what's happening with the sign here? They are different, so it's negative, and then negative 12 divided, so 12 divided by 3 then is 4, so negative 4. Okay, so pretty basic. I'm not going to do number 9. I don't think I did number 9 as a problem like with the exponents, so I don't think we did that, so I'm going to skip. On this one, it's asking you to find the mean, I believe. So if we're finding the mean, that means we're finding the average. That means that you're going to add all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there were. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's divided by 6. There's 6 numbers. And then you actually have to do the math. You have to add this, okay? So I've got, and then so sometimes like what I want to do, I'm going to demonstrate a strategy and you can say, yes, I like that, or no, I don't. So I go through and I identify the negative numbers. Okay, those are all the negatives and I lump them together. So I basically, if I have negative 26, and then if I do these here, it's negative 26. So negative 26 and negative 26 is going to be 40, 52. So I'm going to have negative 52 plus, and then I do all the positives together. So when I do all the positives together, I'm going to go ahead and get 39 and 12 and 31. Well, 39 and 31 is 60, 70, 82. So we're going to end up with 82. So 82. 82 minus 52. 80 minus 50, 30. Divided by 6 equals 5. And so there's my mean. Okay, now that ended up being same sign. What do I do with the signs? Well, 30 and 6 are both positive. So 30 and 6 are both positive, so my result is positive. 30 divided by 6 is 5, so it's going to be positive 5. Okay? And so you're just really, and just anticipating the possibility that you're going to end up with one that might have a result that's negative when on the top, and when you divide it, your average is actually going to end up being negative. So just be careful of that. So there's a problem like number 35. I have 35 here. You're going to do number 34. And so you're going to have to remember the order of operations. So the order of operations, and we kind of simplify it. And, you know, the way this is written gets kind of confusing because the first thing is parentheses. But the only time parentheses goes first is when there's actually things to do inside the parentheses. If the parentheses are just used to surround a negative number, that doesn't count. So we're not doing parentheses in this one. We're not doing exponents. So what we're going to be doing is any multiply and divide, and it doesn't matter which, okay, as you go left to right. So if I'm going to start here and start going this way, the first thing I see is 24 divide negative 4. So that's what I'm going to do first. 24 divide by negative 4. So it's I ask myself, what do I do with the sign? It's different. So it's going to be negative, and then 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then I see a plus, but I'm not on I haven't finished the multiply divide yet. So I'm going to skip that plus, and I'm going to go negative 2 times negative 5. Oh, yep, I do have another multiply, so I need to do that. Okay, so I ask myself, what do I do with the sign? Okay, they're same, so they're going to be positive. And then 2 times 5 is 10. And then I have the plus in the middle. So what's negative 6 plus 10? Oh, that's going to be 4. And so don't forget about your PEMDAS. And that is the extent of today's notes, including the basic idea of how do we do the signs, and then showing you some different ways that would be applied during the assignment. I have one last little thing up here, which a lot of you heard, but in case you weren't in class or got kicked out, I don't know who is doing the kicking out, but it will result in some changes. Okay, so division by 0 is undefined. That basically says that if I have, oh, Siri, be quiet. Siri's trying to tell me about 0 and being defined. If I have any number divided by 0, there is no number that can multiply by 0 and get something else. Okay? So there's no number that works for that. We can't come up with a number on the number line anywhere that would multiply by 0 and get something other than 0. And so what we call that, when there is no defined number that can do that, we call that undefined. So if you have 0 in the denominator and any number on top, we call that undefined because it doesn't work. A scenario that you might see is something like this. What if 0 is in the top? Well, that's easy. It's just saying what times 12 is 0. Oh, that's easy. That's 0. So if 0 is on the top, your answer is going to be 0. If 0 is in the bottom, it's going to be undefined. Okay, and so that is this reminder. It's a reminder. It says remember, as if it's been taught before. I don't know where you were taught that before, so I just thought I would cover that. So that is the notes for 1.5. So hopefully you've started your big ideas math and you're coming back to this just to check things out. I will have these posted and the completed notes so that you can refer to those. Thanks and have a good day.